Hello everyone, welcome to another live stream. So today we did have some news. If we open up the Forex calendar, let me actually try to share this with you guys as well. So I'm gonna make the window a bit smaller and I'm gonna share it. So let's stop sharing this, present, share screen, window, and Forex calendar. So let's take a look at this. Okay, looks like it now disappeared from my screen. Okay, it's here. So basically, it's for this week. If you guys are wondering where do I get my news, it is Forex Factory, Forex Calendar, and then we have the week of the October 27th to November 2nd. So we did have the core PC price index, deployment cost, and the unemployment claims. But you can also view these news events on TradingView as well. And tomorrow, very important to mention, we do have non-farm employment change, which is a very volatile news event. And if you're wondering what a specific news event does, you can click this button right here, and then you will see that this is the change in the number of employed people during the previous month, excluding the farming industry. The actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. So if the actual number is greater than the forecast, well, then it's US dollar is going to gain value and our currency pairs like the Euro US dollar will go down. Okay. So that is about it for the news. I just want to say definitely be prepared for NFP. Now let's get to the charts. Window charts. Okay, so we're going to start with the euro and the US dollar. If you guys have any questions or any chart requests, make sure to put them in the chat, of course, and we will go through all of the requests and questions. So yeah, these bubbles right here on the bottom, they also represent a news event. So basically, here you can see non-farm payroll tomorrow. And my rule is usually I do not trade NFP. I don't trade NFP Friday. So I stop trading at around 1 or 2 a.m. on NFP Friday. If I'm having any positions open, I will monitor them. I will trail the stop loss as well going into the NFP, but I won't take any new positions. So did I take any trades? I didn't, but let me also double check with my trade journal. In Notion, no. So no trades for me in the last week from the last live stream that we had. Covering the per price action on the euro and the US dollar. So we did have this bearish pressure going down, which was pretty interesting. Okay, I did like this selling pressure. I did see some potential right here in this price action. Unfortunately, the next candle kind of made me stay out completely because it showed a bit of a shift in momentum. It showed too much buying pressure according to my liking. So I did stay out of this setup. We then went up. There was a flag that you could have taken. Nico from Zentum Trading did take this flag right here. So a flag is just a simple formation. First high, first low, second high, second low. Blue candle is, of course, the entry candle. Okay, so for me, I didn't like this final candle inside of this flag. I just saw a bit too much selling pressure. If we go back just one more candle. At this point, I would have taken a flag here because this momentum, bullish momentum, was looking okay. You also could say that you had a descending channel pattern in the per price action. Okay, so you could make a case for that as well. Descending channel, some bullish momentum here, and then you have the flag formation. But the next candle just had too much selling pressure, and I did decide to stay out of that. Broke the high, retraced, broke the high, retraced. So this would be a losing setup if I took it. So it's good that I did follow the plan. Then we had a big drop, but it was late on a Friday. So if you guys are wondering, my trading hours are from 8 a.m. London time on a Monday up until 5 p.m. London time on a Friday. And this drop was looking very nice. It had some nice selling pressure, some nice bearish momentum, but it was too late on a Friday. It was definitely too late on a Friday. Then basically pullback, break of the low when the market opened, push up higher. Here, maybe I would have been looking for some setups, but again, it was kind of coming from pretty corrective price action overall. So that was a warning sign. I didn't really like that. Flat. Then we had a V reversal right here, a nice V reversal, which looked okay. That is a bullish pattern. So a V reversal is a bullish pattern, and I was looking to see if maybe the price can range around for a little bit, then break the high, and then go higher. But that didn't happen. Instead, we had a little bit of a range, break of the high, huge wick, retrace. Then the corrective price action continued, and right now this is not looking the best, to be honest. It's looking kind of like the price is stuck in a big corrective ascending channel, okay? A big corrective ascending channel, which is, it would be a bearish pattern. You would expect a drop to happen. I mean, the fundamentals are for sure telling us that the euro US dollar is going to go down. So you have that, but I'm just not seeing any clean price action so far. So I'm being more patient on the euro and the US dollar. EJ is the next pair on the list. So let me just check the date of the election. So when is the US elections in 2024? Oh, so it's going to be on Tuesday, the 5th of November. Okay, so that is interesting. And I think it's already marked. I think it's already marked right here. Let's see. 5th. Yeah, presidential election. Okay, so it's already marked on there. What you can expect usually before a big news event, you get flat price action, okay? So before a big news event, you usually get something like this. Just stagnant flat price action, and then you get that news event, you get that volatility. So to be honest with you, I don't expect that we're gonna get any, let's say, big moves or entries before that Tuesday. But I mean, it's just 2 trading days. So tomorrow I'm not trading. Today I don't think anything is going to happen, but tomorrow I'm not trading. And then Monday and Tuesday, just 2 trading days. On Wednesday, the elections have already passed, so we can maybe get a trend up or a trend down. So EJ is the next one on the list. Not doing much. We covered this price action last time. Push up, but nothing came out of that. You can just see that the price is pretty corrective and stagnant in this area. Hey Charles, what's up? So Charles has a question based on who wins, so Trump or Harris. How do you think the market will move? To be honest, I don't think it's going to matter that much to the markets. I think the overall move of the S&P should go higher with both candidates. Okay, so currently it is dropping, but when you think about the long term, both candidates will for sure try to pump some money in the markets and drive the S&P higher, because it is a big factor of when you're looking at a success of a president. Let's say they all want to say that they pumped up the markets and that the markets were higher than before they got elected. So I don't think overall it's going to be that big of an impact, or that it matters too much who wins or who loses. We will see. Again, one thing I do know, when Trump was in office, so when Trump was president the last time, he had a lot of tweets that just came out of nowhere, and he moved the markets drastically just with his erratic and crazy tweets, which was pretty fun to follow. And if you were a trader, at least that's what I heard from like some OG old traders, if you were a trader during Trump's presidency, you made a lot of money just by following Trump's Twitter account, which I think is pretty fun. I would definitely like to do that sort of thing, just follow his Twitter account and make trading decisions based on that. Of course, Harris is not that active on social media, so that's a key distinguishing factor. Like Trump usually has a rapid thought in his head and just posts it on Twitter or on X, and then moves the market. So, and I think that's a lot of fun. But overall, I don't think it matters too much for the markets who is going to win. I think both candidates will try to pump the markets to go higher. The stock market, I mean. So the euro and the Japanese yen, yeah, as I said, pretty corrective. At this point, I definitely was looking at this selling pressure. I did like this leg. I very much like this leg, especially after this sort of ascending channel. Not the cleanest, but definitely ascending. Unfortunately, what happened? Did we have any news right here? Looks like we did have some news. We had a big retrace to the upside, break of the high, retrace down. So EJ is not going to go on the watch list. It is pretty corrective and range bound, and I will be more patient. So I will remain patient on the euro and the Japanese yen. Right here, it's kind of stuck in this flat range. Aussie US dollar. Now the Aussie US dollar is kind of the only pair. Let me just check GU for a second. Yeah. The Aussie US dollar is kind of the only pair. Shahid, what's up? You want to see gold? Yeah, sure. After the Aussie US dollar, we'll do gold. Why did gold fall today? Okay, we'll take a look. So Aussie US dollar, 1 hour chart. I really liked this price action right here. So I definitely liked this descending pattern, which is a bullish pattern. So you'd expect an uptrend to start. We even got the signature right here, but after that, it just got super messy here and kind of negated any setup that I was looking at, any buy setup that I was looking at. But at one point, it was looking very high probability. It was looking like a perfect opportunity to start looking for buy setups. Okay, at this point, I really liked this descending channel, and it came after I would say a pretty significant, a pretty massive downtrend. So you would expect at least some movement to the upside, maybe a bit of a pullback. Let's check it out maybe on the daily. You would expect at least a bit of a retrace, wouldn't you? Like this, after this massive move down. Unfortunately, nothing came out of that. Instead, we got that messy price action. Then we went flat, broke down on the news, or just after the news. Yeah, just after. Had a big breakdown. And we are now pretty flat in this area right here. Now, I think the Aussie and the US dollar is looking much better than the euro and the US dollar, okay? Because this may just be a little bit of a pause. This right here may just be a little pause before we continue with that overall downtrend. Unfortunately, I never got a high probability entry anywhere in this downtrend, so I didn't manage to exploit this super trending price action. Now it looks pretty great looking back at it. But maybe if this continues going down, we're going to see the NFP report tomorrow. So last NFP was pretty bullish for the dollar. It was a pretty, let's say, volatile event, and the dollar gained a lot of strength. That means the Aussie US dollar goes down. Okay, so if tomorrow the actual number can be as big as it was last month, so let's say the forecast is 113 and the actual number is 200 or 210, that's going to be a very bullish case for the dollar. And if dollar goes up, if dollar gains strength, then the Aussie US dollar goes down. And for me, I don't care if things go up, if things go down. I just don't want them to go flat. I don't want them to do this. I just want a trend to happen. Okay. So if the NFP report tomorrow can come in bullish for the dollar, that would be amazing for sell setups on the Aussie US dollar, right? So that is what I'm gonna wait for on NFP. And this is currently not going on the watch list. Definitely not going on the watch list. Now we're gonna do gold for Shahid. This is a pretty significant drop. Let's start on the daily. Yeah, this is a pretty significant drop, but in terms of the daily price action, not that significant yet. It could still develop into a big drop, but overall, this is a pretty bullish scenario in my opinion. And the grind up is just continuing to go. To be honest, this actually looks like a potential buy setup right here. A break and retest setup, which I like to trade if I put it to the right, which I like to trade on the 1 hour chart. The 1 hour chart, though, is looking pretty bearish. We had this, again, pump of momentum going up, steadily going up, and now a massive drop on the 1 hour chart at least. Why did it fall? We had some news, didn't we? Looks like the drop happened right after this news. Can I see anything in the numbers? No, not really. But again, I'm not a fundamental trader. I don't know much about the fundamentals. Learning currently because it's very interesting. And I think as a trader, you should always try to learn as much as you can about trading. And maybe you will discover an edge here or there as you learn about different markets, different instruments, different fundamentals, different news events, blah, 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 blah. So I think you should always keep learning. And for me, it's fun. I like it. So still learning about the fundamentals. Is this a fundamental drop? I don't know. Must be because of Diwali, and Diwali is around the corner. They love their golden gifts, possibly. So they want to bring the price down to buy the gifts for cheap, right? But this just may be a correction. Look, not every move in the markets is based on the fundamentals. Sometimes you just get a big uptrend like you're getting here. Just no signs of slowing down, at least in these last few legs, and then you get a correction, right? So you never know. Doesn't really matter. If I was a trader, if I was trading gold, this would be a perfect scenario for me to look for a short setup. Maybe like a flag here, right? A nice flag setup or a nice break of the low, retest of that low. That would be pretty interesting for me on gold. So I like the move. UX says, what strategy style will you use to trade gold? So I don't personally trade gold. I have backtested it with my strategy that I use for Forex. Didn't work as well. So some adjustments are needed. My goal is to implement the S&P 500 and gold into my live trading, but currently I have not done it yet. So that's something I'm going to do in the future. So the answer to your question is I do not trade gold live. I analyze it for these live streams, and I'm currently working on backtesting gold. Going back to what I do trade live, which is these 6 currency pairs. Okay, so live trading, live stream, and then I have some interesting instruments that I put on right here. But AJ on the 1 hour chart, I mean, it's super corrective. We had a gap. Market had a big gap on the Aussie Japanese yen, but overall, I just didn't see anything throughout the last week. Nothing was that high probability. Nothing really caught my eye. It's very flat overall if I just zoom out. Right? It is just stuck in this flat range, which is not a good sign. So I'm willing to be more patient. Of course, I'm going to wait for the NFP. NFP usually moves all markets, especially the currencies that I watch. So it moves most of all of the dollar pairs. It moves some of the JPY pairs as well. Let's wait for tomorrow. Let's wait for NFP. Then we'll see what will happen. Let's also wait for the election. You have two like really big news events. First one is NFP tomorrow, and then elections next week on Tuesday. So we shall see. Maybe it can spike a nice uptrend or downtrend, but this is pretty typical of what happens right before an election, right? This stagnant price action, no real commitment, no real movement up or down, just kind of traders and bigger players are waiting on the sidelines to see exactly what will happen. Which is kind of a similar story on the Euro US dollar currently, kind of slowing down, right? But let's move on to something a bit more interesting, and that is going to be the pound and US dollar. Well, it was interesting before this big bullish candle formed. Looks like we just cannot get a break on the pound US dollar. We haven't seen any high probability trades form on this one for quite some time. That's how it goes. So from the last week, the only opportunity that was on my radar was right here. I did like this. Definitely did. I definitely did like this right here. Ascending channel, which is an ascending channel is a bearish pattern, right? So when you see an ascending channel, you would expect the price to go down. That is why I really liked this overall pattern, which is an ascending channel plus a large impulse to a downside plus a large drop. Okay, I definitely like that for some shorts. Let me just check out the fundamentals quickly for the pound and the US dollar. Let's see it. Is it bearish or is it bullish? I think it's going to be bearish. Must be bearish. Yeah, so kind of bearish. The fundamentals are kind of bearish for the pound US dollar, which is another confluence, you could say. It's not something that I put much weight on. I focus on technicals, but it's good to know that, let's say, the overall trend is down, right? And that the fundamentals are bearish. That's good to know, especially if you're looking for short setups. So I was pretty, you could say, excited, which I shouldn't be, but I was excited to see this. And then the next candle was not as exciting as I wanted it to be, because we had a full-on retrace. We never got a sell setup. We never got that high probability sell entry. Instead, we just got a big shift in momentum to the upside. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. That made me stay out. That made me more patient. After that, though, we did get a big drop right now. So I do really like this. Is it connected to these news events? I don't know. Does it matter? Doesn't matter. Looks like we came a little bullish here. Yeah, so the pound is just losing strength against the US dollar. Currently, I am looking for entries, okay? Keep in mind that tomorrow is NFP and my cutoff time is 1 or 2 a.m. on a Friday. So if an entry happens, it must happen in the next few hours. If it doesn't happen in the next few hours, I won't be taking, definitely won't be taking a trade. Now, if we can get a nice flag right here, nice range, break of the high, retrace, nice flag, I will be interested to take it, okay? I would be interested to take a nice flag right here. Or an even better story, to be honest, for me personally, would be for this to break the low with some strong momentum, nice clean close on the bottom, so no wick preferably, and then retest this low or retest the inside bar and take us in. We would be in a sell setup. So this pair is going to go on the watch list. We still have around, what is it? I don't know, 7 or 8 hours until my cutoff time. So 7 or 8 hours. This pair is on the watch list. I like this price action. Looks good. Price action is not the best. Yes, I was looking at the ascending structure, but then this whole thing happened and kind of, I kind of didn't want to touch it after that. So my only confluence is that this is a big push down, right? So Charles asks, the wick at the top represents selling pressure. You could say, yes, you could look at this wick, which is something I do place some weight on. You could look at this wick and say, well, look, the buyers tried to push it up and they were just smacked silly by the sellers, right? So yes, this pattern is a bearish pattern, and it is a little bit of an added confluence. So nice spot, Charles. This is a confluence. The big momentum down is a confluence. Do with that what you will. I'm going to look for sell setups. Current candle is looking good right now, but if it closes like this, so if it closes here on the top, it's going to be a no setup situation for me. Charles says the last one towards the end. Which one do you mean? This one maybe? This one or this one? I can put in numbers. So this is number 1, number 2, number 3, and tell me which number. 3. Okay. Yeah, so this is, look, currently this is pretty good, but we still have 32 minutes. We still have 32 minutes until this candle closes. So no one knows what will happen, how it will close. We need to wait to see. Again, if it closes like this, it's going to be a good case for me. I'm going to continue looking for sell setups. It's going to signify the strength of the sellers, right? That the sellers are still in control. But if it closes right here, in this level, then it signals some buying pressure and it's a warning sign to me. So currently it does represent selling pressure. So GEO is on the watch list. Next one is going to be the New Zealand and the Japanese yen. Unfortunately, the euro, the New Zealand and the Japanese yen is looking pretty corrective, as is the Aussie and the Japanese yen. Okay, so I think in the last live stream we did discuss this push up. Yeah, we definitely did. Then we had this descending. Then we just went flat. Right here. Again, all the JPY pairs are kind of looking like this, pretty flat. Push down, retrace, push down, retrace, push down, retrace. Nothing much. So I'm just being more patient. If I zoom out, the picture is clear. It's not moving up. It's not moving down. It's just ranging around in this area. So it's a pretty bad story. And I will be more patient on the New Zealand Japanese yen. It's definitely not going to go on the watch list. Looks pretty similar to the Aussie and the Japanese yen. So I think after NFP, after the US elections, we could start getting some movement on the JPY pairs, okay? We could start getting some movement. Before any movement happens, I'll just be patient. I kind of also want to see the breakout of this range overall. I mean, this doesn't look that promising, doesn't look that good. So if we can just break some key levels, that is always welcoming. Maybe this high or this low with momentum, this high, this low with momentum. So remaining patient right here. So Charles, no worries. Meg says, can you please say, is Bullenox prop firm is face? So I never heard about that prop firm. I don't know anything about them. One thing I do know is all of the smaller prop firms are pretty sketchy, pretty shady. The prop firm business in and of itself is super shady. It's like basically a casino. You're betting on the traders to fail. All of your money comes from the challenge fees. You really don't like traders that can make money, because then you need to pay them out of your own pocket, because you're betting that they will actually lose the challenge or that they will lose the money. So if you're a small prop firm, you usually don't have a lot of clients. You just, like, one big trader comes on who can make money, and he can probably bankrupt your whole little prop firm. That is why I recommend just stick to the big guys, stick to the reputable firms like FTMO, 5%ers. Even those are kind of sketchy, but they have been here for a couple of years now. They pay out most of the time, and there's not a lot of drama surrounding them. So it costs only $15. Yeah, anything with that cheap price, I would not personally touch. So for me, I would say it's definitely not a good option if I'm looking at prop firms, as it is so cheap and it's a new prop firm, I'm guessing, and it's a small prop firm. So I would just stay away. But again, you can do whatever you want. I've been in the prop firm space for quite a while now, and I've seen a lot of shit happen. So I would avoid that prop firm. I would stick to FTMO and 5%ers, save some money, and save yourself the trouble as well. Because even if you pass, you'll probably not get a payout. Even if you pass the challenge, even if you make the money on the live account, you'll probably not get a payout, and you'll spend all of those days, all of those months for nothing essentially. Okay, so that is about it. That is about it for our live trading. Okay, now let's do some popular instruments. So the S&P. I usually like to start on daily and then do the 1 hour. So do the daily, then do the 1 hour. Starting to see some evidence of a breakdown on the S&P, but still nothing is super convincing. And as you can see, the S&P can really bounce back quite heavily when you get a drop. See this massive drop, bounce back in just a couple of days. Big drop, big V reversal. So I'm still not convinced that this is a big bearish story on the daily chart. I still have a bullish bias, to be honest with you. I still do have a bullish bias. Overall, if you just zoom out a little bit, I mean, this is just shooting to the upside with a lot of strength, right? So in 307 days, plus 23%. That's pretty big. That's a pretty big jump. It's a pretty big jump. 1 hour. 1 hour is going to be pretty bearish, I'm guessing. Yeah, definitely is. The 1 hour is pretty bearish. Massive selling pressure. I would definitely be looking for sell setups right here for sure. So yeah, I would definitely look for sell setups on the 1 hour chart. But the daily, I'm still not convinced. So Charles asks, the entries you teach at Zentum Trading, do they apply to instruments as well? Why do you call them instruments? So an instrument is anything that you can trade. So an instrument, a currency is an instrument as well, right? I just call them instruments because they're not currencies. They're indices, but in order to not mix up all of the names, because you have currencies, indices, you have gold, you have silver, commodities, oil, blah, 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 blah. But I just call everything instruments. So that's just a general name for an asset that you can trade. And so do the entries apply to all of them? They do. The basic entries such as the flag, the break and retest, the reversal, you could make money on pretty much every instrument, but they do work better on the currencies that we trade at Zentum than on, let's say, the S&P or gold. I did backtest my exact strategy on gold and the S&P. Yes, it was making money, but it wasn't making a lot of money. It didn't make a lot of percentage, maybe a couple of percent every year. Some years were losing as well, but overall it was positive, but it wasn't as good as the Forex pairs. So my game plan is to change it up a little bit, maybe have a stop loss that is bigger, and then try to exploit the S&P and gold that way. The main issue I found is that my stop loss was just too small for, let's say, the S&P 500. And if you look at Forex, when you get a trend, it usually moves like this, or it moves like this. But on the S&P or gold, it usually moves more correctively like a channel. It moves from channel to channel, right? Which is a bit different, and that is why your stop loss needs to be a bit bigger so that you can pull through these kind of deeper retraces. And where can you spot it? Well, I mean, you do have some clean movement, like here. Here is a clean drop. But here is a nice example of what I mean. It's kind of moving in a channel formation, right? With those pullbacks that are a bit wider than Forex. So the conclusion is the entries do work, but they don't work as well. They don't work as well as on Forex. Okay. S&P, Nasdaq is going to be pretty similar story, I'm guessing. So no sense to waste time. Kind of bearish pressure right here, approaching this this high, not looking as good as the S&P. So look, the Nasdaq just follows the S&P. Whatever the S&P does, Nasdaq is going to follow. Okay, gold we did do. Looks like there is a bit of a correction on gold, as we mentioned. On the daily chart, the overall story is still pretty bullish. This is just one candle. It's not even that big. Yes, when you look at the visual size, it is pretty significant, but I'm not worried. I would say that more upside, that I could expect more upside right here. Okay, on gold. Silver doesn't look as good as gold. So now we're going through metals. Silver doesn't look as good as gold. Also showing a little bit of selling pressure, but it's kind of a similar thing as look at the S&P, then look at Nasdaq. Look at gold, then look at silver, right? Gold looks much better. Silver doesn't. S&P looks great. I mean, better than Nasdaq. Nasdaq looks a bit more range bound. So next one is going to be Bitcoin. Damn, Bitcoin is pushing up. Whoa. I didn't expect this. Damn, it's approaching the high as well. Whoa. Okay, this is pretty interesting. I didn't see this one coming. So we did mention the range, or sorry, the descending channel. And it broke out of that channel. You could make a case for a trend line right here. It broke out, definitely did. Approached the major high, which is exactly what I was looking at. And tried to pierce through it. Wasn't successful. This is the daily chart, by the way. But it's looking pretty promising. And if this can break the high with some nice momentum, I think a nice buy setup is going to be pretty good. Again, I don't trade Bitcoin. I may do some long-term position, maybe a little bit of investing on Binance, buy some Bitcoin on Binance. But I think if it breaks this high, that we can get a nice bullish train to the upside. So I like what I'm seeing. This definitely looks good. I'm seeing some nice buying pressure. I like this momentum. Let's check out the 1 hour. So it's correcting now, as are all of the instruments that are connected with the dollar. Looks like the dollar is gaining some strength. This was nice. Any entries? Yeah, a flag right here. Let me see. Yeah, this is a flag. Pretty nice, pretty good. We were flat. Yeah, so let's focus on the daily. So the summary for Bitcoin is I'm pretty bullish right now. I like this breakout. I like this attempt at the high. I would actually expect this to break out, and then maybe we can look for some nice high probability buy entries for a long-term play, right? Maybe buy some Bitcoin on Binance. That's about it. Looking pretty good, pretty interesting. Let's put it on the watch list as well. Ethereum, is Ethereum going to do anything? Nah, Ethereum is just, the retrace from the high is pretty big. Minus 37%, pretty massive. Retrace. It's not following Bitcoin either. It's not going up. It's just moving flat, stagnant, and range bound. Let's just ignore Ethereum. Okay, let's just ignore that. DXY. Now, the DXY is a pretty important thing to look at. So The DXY is an index and it measures the strength of the US dollar. So if this thing goes up, you can bet that all of our instruments that are connected with the US dollar are going to go down, right? They're going to lose value. As the dollar gains value, they are going to lose value. For example, euro and US dollar, or Aussie US dollar, or pound US dollar, if this thing goes up, all of these ones are going to go down. They're going to print a negative right here, okay? So I was talking about this nice uptrend. It was pretty clean, pretty strong on the DXY. Had one bearish candle, not a big cause for a concern. Broke the high, retraced. Now pausing a little bit, but I'm still not convinced of a selling of a bearish market. I still believe that this has some power to continue going up, especially if the NFP report comes strong. So if the NFP report comes strong for the dollar, I think this can happen pretty easily, right? This can happen pretty easily. Okay, so what happens next on the 1 hour? I think the 1 hour is going to be pretty flat. Yeah, nothing really on the 1 hour, so better to focus on the daily chart. Flag right here, buy setup. Maybe some potential buy setups, who knows? But basically my focus is on the daily chart for the DXY. So hopefully I would like to see this go up, continue its strength. Then I can get some trends on the dollar pairs. I can look for some nice high probability sell setups. That would be a pretty good story in my opinion. Last one I have for you guys is going to be US oil, and it's going to be super choppy. As always, US oil is just super choppy. Now, the US oil is kind of the last thing I want to look for trades on, or I look to want to implement my strategy on, as it's full of gaps, gap right here, gap. Like everything all over the place. You have gaps, you have kind of very, I would say, erratic price action, just move up, move down, move up, move down. So I don't like US oil. I don't like the price action. I don't think it's clean. I also think it's kind of stagnant in this whole area, right? On the daily chart, at least. 1 hour, I think it's going to look horrible. Yeah, the 1 hour definitely looks horrible. Super choppy on the 1 hour chart, and nothing much, to be honest, to say for US oil. That would be about it. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you have stayed so far, almost up until the end, thank you very much for your support. Thank you also for the comments, guys. I do like when I get the comments. Makes things more interactive, makes it less boring for me. I used to do the forecasts, I used to make the recordings. It was a pretty boring process. So this is more fun, more engaging, and I get to help you, I think, even better. If you want to learn to trade, go to zentamtrading.com. Let me put the banner thing up. We have a free Discord you can join to check it out, see if you like it, ask some questions. And if you want to really learn to trade, go from zero to consistently profitable, well, then you can be a paid Zentam trader. Here, all the information is on the website. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week. I will definitely have a live stream next week, possibly for the US elections, looking at the price action live. I think that should be super fun. Depending on which time the elections will be, I will try to do a live stream. If I don't do it, then see you on our regular Thursday live streams. Good luck in the markets. My main advice for NFP is be patient. Don't execute trades right before NFP. If your entry and stop loss are close to the current price right before NFP, make sure to extend that stop loss, because NFP is a really, really volatile event. You need to be really careful. I got burned a couple of times because I wasn't careful. So be careful and have a great Friday and a great next week. See you guys.